Thank you, Lacey. And just thank you all for the opportunity to present today. We're really excited to be up here, just sharing about the work that we're doing here in our region. But before I get started, I'm curious to know what some of you in the room know about United Way. Can anybody tell me what we do?
Support for kids.
Yep, there's prizes, so Katie's got prizes. Anybody else? Yep, we do.
We live in the city, it's fun to see that different corporations have competition to see which corporation with all their employees could give the most United Way nonprofit.
Yep, definitely. Yep, workplace campaign is a big thing for United Way. How about one more? In the back. Yep, we do. Thank you. So I'm actually really excited to hear that people are familiar with United Way in the room. I think sometimes United Way is a hard organization to digest and understand because we're all so different and we do so many different things. And that's still something that we've been working with on our board is, you know, how do we put together a really quick 2-minute or 1-minute elevator speech so that when somebody asks you what we do, we don't take 35 minutes to try to, you know, tell you all the things. So, so this is great. So like I said, a lot of people don't, they know United Way by name, but they don't know exactly what it is that we do. So, just a little background on United Way. So United Way itself actually, nationally and then locally. So nationally, United Way was created in the 1880s. And it was created as an avenue for people to give to one entity to then support, you know, contributions across multiple nonprofits. So that was the initial reason for it. There were people who were looking at, instead of having donations scattered all over, this was an opportunity to have one central location for those dollars to go. And then also to use community input in deciding how those dollars were distributed. So that's a big piece of what United Way is known for. And for more than 100 years, United Ways have operated this way, both nationally and locally. And really up until 2008, that's solely what our organization had done. And was our purpose was to fundraise for other nonprofits across our service area. And actually, that's one of the things I wanted to note here before I go any further, is just what our service area is. So Katie had handed out some brochures in the room, and if you haven't had the opportunity to look in it, I just want to point out, we started using this map probably, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, because so many people didn't understand the vastness of our service area. We have a very, very large service area. We're the largest geographical United Way in the state of Minnesota, and one of the largest in the United States. So we actually cover from Saginaw all the way up to Lake of the Woods County up in the Baudette Angle Inlet area. So we are very rural. We have a lot of ground to cover, but it's really unique for our United Way. So this is our service area. So when we talk about our United Way, this is what we're covering. And so that's, I think, the one thing, if there's one thing that you take away from the presentation today, it's that I hope that you remember every United Way is different. We're independently operated, and what we do is driven by local people, local boards of directors, and the local funds that we raise. So United Way Worldwide does not offer a menu of programs that we can select from to operate. They do not provide funding to our local United Ways. It's all on us to fundraise, and it's on us to figure out what is going to best resonate with our communities and how we can best serve them. So again, our local board helps to make those decisions. Our donors, you know, through our fund distribution process, all of those are really neat. And that is something that's unique about United Way that we still offer, is that we do have that fund distribution process. So when you give to our organization, you have the opportunity on an annual basis to be at the table and help to decide how the dollars are distributed. We have a fund distribution process every March. and we hold that. We try to have it centrally located in the Virginia area. And we have close to 100 volunteers that come and join us on that day, and they listen to a number of nonprofits that have similar service missions. And then you have a panel of anywhere from 10 to 12 people who you sit with and listen to these stories. And then you decide how those dollars are distributed and make recommendations to our board. So that's a piece of what we do. So we raise money, we interview, we support our local nonprofits. But the other thing that we do as an organization is we try to figure out where there are gaps in the communities that are not being met. So in 2008, our United Way really moved towards being a community impact organization. And I'm just going to reference this. So this was the list of organizations that we were funding back in 2004. The total dollars we raised was about $854,000. So that was just a snapshot. That's our previous executive director there. Again, as I mentioned, our service area. And today, this past year, we raised $2.5 million that we're investing back into our service area. So in 2008, we transitioned into really moving towards a community impact-based organization. So figuring out, we still want to support our local nonprofits, but what else is missing? And how can we support the community, whether it's finding another organization to lift up programming for the need that isn't being met, or is it something that we need to invest in ourselves? And so probably one of the programs that we're most well known for, and I'm probably going to get off task here, is Katie's going to be going, oh man, what are you talking about? But it's our Buddy Backpack program. And that was one of the first programs that we started with the community impact work. And that was actually started because we had a school nurse from the Mesabi schools that had been talking to our previous executive director about our dental program that was also starting around the same time. And she was saying that on Monday mornings, she had multiple kids who were coming to school on Monday mornings, and they were, complaining of stomach aches, headaches. They weren't able to focus in class. And she said when she really did some digging, she found out that these kids weren't eating on the weekends. And so she said, is there anything United Way can do? And so, we did some research, and long story short, found that in other states, some organizations were successful with putting together a weekend meal kit for kids, so that they had some sustainability over the weekends when they went home from school. And so that program started, we piloted with 30 kids, and today we're serving just shy of 900 throughout our service area. So our numbers served ebb and flow. We've had upwards of 1,100 kids who are served with that program. We've seen those numbers go down a little bit, which is a good thing. We don't want to have to see kids on the Buddy Backpack program. So that's where we're at today. So the donations, though, that we raised, as I'm all over the board here, but we have 28 nonprofits that we fund service area. We also provide funding to all of the food shelves across our region, and we make sure that we make that allocation in March so that we can ensure that they receive a match for those dollars. And then we also, about 5 years ago, started supporting our local libraries and their summer reading programs. And so we allocate those dollars out in late spring so they can prepare for their summer programs. And then, as I mentioned, Buddy Backpacks, that's one of the programs that we operate, but we actually have a total of 13 led United Way initiatives, and they're listed also in your brochure. All of them, with the exception of the Dolly Parton Imagination Library program, were created by our organization, and the input from local community members, telling us there's a need. So the Dolly Parton Foundation created the Imagination Library, but they look for local affiliates to operate that program. So we took that on. It was also we were early adopters of that and have continued to provide that across our region. Otherwise, as I said, Buddy Backpacks is very well known to our United Way, and then also our United for Veterans program. We are very unique as a United Way that we are the only United Way in this state, but one of very few in the United States that has a veterans program. So that's something that we've been well known for, and I'll probably mention it here in a little while too when we talk about our other programming, but we've held our United for Veterans retreat here at the GEL the last 2 years. We've held a women's retreat and then another family retreat at Veterans on the Lake Resort. So we've been pretty involved with veterans here in Ely. But typically what we do to identify whether or not, there is a need or whether or not we can be a part of it is, we have people come to us and say, this is what we're seeing. We then go out and, we'll talk to our local nonprofits to find out if it's something that they have capacity to, to jump on board with and help to support. If not, then we start figuring out how we can support it. And we've commissioned Wilder Research for several of our studies. We've worked with them on the childcare study when we were looking at, how do we build childcare capacity across our region. We worked with them on the veterans programming because we really wanted to make sure that that program was unique to our veterans and serving them in the best way that we possibly could. And then our most recent study is we had done a mental health study as well with Wilder Research and really focusing on youth mental health. So, and then we rely on, experts in the different subjects and topics to help navigate and direct us on how we can, best serve our communities when these needs arise. So that's a background on what we're doing, 28 nonprofit partner agencies we fund. We have our 13 initiatives, and then of course our food shelves and libraries that we're investing in. Hopefully you can see this pie chart, but it is also in your brochure. So there's some detail there, but this is just kind of giving you an overview of where our dollars raised come from. And it's really changed over the past, I would say 10 years, especially since we've become a more community impact focused United Way. And United Ways across the board are seeing the way their dollars come in change. So we've relied very heavily on workplace giving. And over the years, we've seen companies change. Many companies don't have United Way come in anymore, not because they don't support United Way, but there's, just again, donor choice oftentimes gets brought up. We're also seeing a lot more options for people to give. So our workplace campaign has gone down. We used to raise around $900,000 in the workplace campaign, and last year we dropped to about 540. So that is a huge difference in where our funds are coming from. So we're seeing more funding coming in from grants. We have received some contributions, mainly restricted in the last couple of years, but we've received contributions, like we had bequests come in from individuals who are really passionate about Buddy Backpacks or our veterans program. So those are restricted dollars that we have to use for those. And then our individual giving has also gone up. So from retirees and community members. So we're seeing an increase in that too, which is important because in order for us to be able to maintain what we're doing as an organization, we have to be able to have those contributions come in. So really on this, we've got about 10% of the revenue that we have come in is from our events, which are fantastic to attend if you haven't been to one yet. Again, legacy giving, about 9% of our revenue is from legacy giving this past year, 7% community members, 35% is grants. And a portion of that is we received a $1.2 million federal earmark in 2023 that was then allocated over a 2-year period to help to build the Happy Days Learning Center here in Ely. So we are really excited to be able to secure that funding. And then the rest of this here that's broken out, you're just going to see the different industries. So we've got power companies, professional services, financial, nonprofit, mining. And for us, mining has been the largest contributor because they're one of the largest industries in our region. So, but we have seen that decline as well too. We're at 17% with that currently. So that's where our dollars are coming from. I do want to give a shout out. One of our board members, Dean DeBelt, he couldn't be here today, but he's in the pontoon there. This is one of our veterans events. He had led a group of veterans out on a fishing trip on Fall Lake. So just a shout out to him. He's been serving on our board since 2014 and has been really, really invested in our veterans program specifically. So again, workplace giving had been really our main source of income, but we're seeing that change, and that's okay. But in order to remain relevant, we have to get strategic and really look at where we can expand and reach people and talk about our work. So this here is what we've invested in the Ely Winton Tower Sedan area in 2024. So this gives you a snapshot of that. So just shy of $84,000 went to our nonprofits up here, and then was also invested in our programs like Buddy Backpacks, Imagination Library. You can see that we have here in Ely, there's 56 students who are served with Buddy Backpacks. We have a Comforts of Home program that Katie will touch on later. We had 3 families served with that. We have 130 children who are on Imagination Library and receiving those books. 125 individuals served with the Smiles United Dental Program, and then 22 veterans who participated in either our retreat or our Veterans Connections here from Ely. And then we have some great partners, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. Ely Community Health Center, they served 622 individuals last year. Ely Community Resource, 364. The Ely Historic State Theater, excuse me, 70 children were served, and then Northwards Partners, 445. And I had already mentioned our earmark for Happy Days. Oh, I need some water. Sorry. Just give me a minute here. So 84,000 invested. We raised just shy of $20,000 in Ely last year. Oh, what happened? Oh, what do we do?
Chaos, chaos.
Did I press a button? Oh, excuse me. I can probably keep talking. Yeah. So while they're looking at that, does anybody have any questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
You mentioned the food shelves, and I didn't know see the Ely food shelf on your list of partners.
They are.
They are, so the difference there.
Yeah. Yep. So the partner agencies are those that come to us and apply for funding, excuse me, through our fund distribution process. We do not have our local food shelves do that, or our local library. So there are all of the food shelves across our service territory. Do that. Mhm. Okay. Let's. Uh-oh. Excuse me. So as I had mentioned, we raised just shy of $20,000 in the Ely community. And that's coming, we had about just over 10,000 from local businesses. So we had 4 businesses that contributed. We had Twin Metals, the Ely Bloomington Community Hospital, a couple of community groups, the Iron or the Rotary Club, and then also the local Legion. And then we had about 9,300 from local individuals who also contributed to United Way. So of course, it's our goal as an organization to go into a community, provide the programming that we do. It's our hope that we can also raise the funds to support it. We are fortunate as an organization that we do receive unrestricted grants. So it allows us to be able to, divvy up those extra dollars so that we can invest in communities where we might not be bringing in the money that we need to support the work that we're providing. So that gives you a snapshot on what we've done in Ely. And then we're also really proud to say that over the last several years here with our veterans program, holding the retreat here, we've been able to invest back in businesses in the community as well too. So we talk a lot about our partners and our programs, but our retreat, when we fill the lodge, we're investing over $50,000 here at Grand Ely Lodge to be able to bring that retreat in. We work with local businesses and community groups to utilize like the Ely Folk School. We've used the Ely Historic State Theater to bring veterans in to see movies there on the weekend. The Ely Wolf Center, the Bear Center, the Dorothy Molter Root Beer Museum. So we really want to be able to give back and invest also in the local businesses. So that's another thing that's not included in here that we're also investing in this region. Does anybody else have any other questions before I continue on? All right. So, oh, go ahead.
Hi.
Depending on all federal grants, I'm wondering if the administration has had an effect on that, if you are.
So we are not. However, I would say a handful of the organizations that we fund are. And so we're expecting the request from our United Way to increase this year due to some of those cuts. And we've been fortunate, we haven't had to apply for federal funding before. Some of the program that we have hasn't fit with that. So there are some United Ways who have, and they have seen some very large cuts with some of the programming that they offer. So I guess you could say we're fortunate that we're not being affected by that right now, but we do know that some of the organizations we serve are. Any other questions before I go on? Okay. So I could keep talking and talking about United Way, and it's, for me as the executive director, or Katie, to talk about our work. Sometimes I feel like, well, of course you're going to say all these really great things. But we have a quick video here that actually one of our summer interns put together for us. He's been with us the last 2 summers. And this will just give you a snapshot of what other people in the community have to say about United Way and our work. And then after that, we'll have Katie get up and dive a little bit deeper about some of our programming.
Believe it or not, that was a high level look at what we do at our organization. And so since we have a little bit of time, this is like the perfect amount of time for us to really get into all the different things United Way does locally. My name is Katie Lofquist. I'm a communications director, and I've been with United Way for 6 years. And so I'm going to just tell you a little bit more about some of the things that we saw in the video, or things that we didn't get into in that video. First of all of these different programs and agencies we support directly in Ely together have touched, in 2024, touched the lives of 8,000 people in the Ely area. In the video, you saw our Imagination Library programs, lunch buddies, and babysitter trainings mentioned. These are all within our youth opportunity focus area. So everything that we do, all the different agencies we invest in, or when we're deciding whether or not a community issue that someone brings to us is something that we should be taking on, we use these targeted issues in our investment plan. So youth opportunity, in addition to our own programs, 11 of our partner agencies are working to improve youth opportunity. And again, when we're talking, this is some internal language, when we're talking partner agencies, those are the agencies that apply for funding, go through an interview process and a screening process. All of the food shelves and libraries, we don't ask them to go through that process, they automatically receive it. As Erin mentioned, Imagination Library was one of our first direct service programs that we brought to, that's the only program that we brought to the area. The rest of them have been started because somebody in the community came to us and told us, this is a real problem here, can United Way do something? Since we implemented Imagination Library, you have helped us mail more than 400,000 books directly to local children in our community, in our region. Children, there's no income qualification for that program. If anyone here knows a child under the age of 5 who is not receiving Imagination Library books, we do have forms here, and we would love to get them enrolled in the program. Lunch Buddies you saw in the program, very exciting. Lunch Buddies is coming to Ely this year for the first time. We're very, very excited. If you are interested in mentoring or know somebody who may be interested in mentoring, the Lunch Buddy program pairs an elementary student who's been identified by someone in the school as a student who could benefit from an additional positive adult role model. We pair them with a screened, trained mentor from the community, and they share one lunch break a week. I think Ely is still determining which day that will be, but one lunch break a week, the same day every week, excluding holidays. So if anybody knows of anyone or is interested, I also have Lunch Buddies mentor applications with us today. And then the babysitter training is part of a new thing that we've started doing, part of our Bright Beginnings program. Our Bright Beginnings program started 10 years ago. We helped lead the charge on really quantifying the need for childcare in the region. And for over a decade, we've been working with other leaders in the region to raise and invest funds into new or expanding childcare facilities, childcare providers, or keeping existing ones open. Unfortunately, and this is a problem everywhere, unfortunately, after a decade of that work and millions of dollars raised and reinvested, the number of childcare spots needed remains about the same as it was a decade ago. It seems every time one provider opens, another closes its doors, which is why we were so motivated to support Happy Days here in Ely. But the babysitter trainings then started out of a way of, we're always trying to look upstream, right? We know that we're going to always need to address immediate issues, but our hope is, like Erin said, to bring the number of people relying on these different programs down by also looking upstream and taking some preventive measures. So one of the upstream approaches here is training local children to be babysitters. It's an American Red Cross training, teach them how to do it safely, hopefully inspire some future careers in childcare. Not mentioned in the video, Step Into School is a program we operate in Coochin County, takes children who qualify in their families school shopping for brand new school shoes. There's a community celebration first, and then they get to ride in a fire truck over to Roning's department store. They pick out new properly fit athletic shoes. They get a haircut certificate, have them walking into school a little taller in the fall. And the Youth United contest. This is our 3rd annual contest, open to any high school senior. We want to hear everything we do. Like I said, fueled by local people, local voices. Local youth voices are important in that work as well. And so our Youth United contest gives high school seniors the opportunity to tell us what issues they see in the community and some ideas for how they think we or others in the community could address them. And then we award a minimum of $1,000 in scholarships, up to $10,000 in scholarships that we give out each year. So again, if anyone here knows a high school senior this year, that contest will open November 1st. And submissions are due January 1st. Healthy communities. In the video, you saw Buddy Backpacks. Shelly, the school nurse in that video, is the school nurse that Erin mentioned. She was the person who said, hey, this is really a problem in schools. Is there something that we could do? You saw Meet Up and Showdown, Smiles United, and United for Veterans. Some highlights to point out, again, in addition to those programs, 7 of our partner agencies are working directly on improving community health. As far as Buddy Backpack goes, I think it's probably what people are the most familiar with. I don't know if I know we said 900 students. That means over 30,000 weekend meal kits that volunteers will help us pack and deliver across the region. And all of that food is purchased with the support of local donors. We purchase that food and we store it in our building, and it's packed there and it's delivered from there. Meetup and Chowdown is not currently in Ely, but it could be. In order to bring Meetup and Chowdown to a community, we need a USDA approved kitchen, a safe public space with a rain shelter, and volunteers able to commit to handing out free lunches from noon to 1, Monday through Thursday, June through August. And that is a program with no qualifications, open to any child ages 1 to 18. They come, they take a lunch on Thursdays. We have Buddy Backpacks, because if children are relying on Buddy Backpacks during the school year, what happens when there's no school year? So when school's out. So we have the Buddy Backpacks at the Meetup and Chowdown sites. Buddy Backpacks does require an enrollment process. Schools refer students to make sure that that food is going home with a student who really needs it and it is getting eaten. And we're serving as many kids as we can. Smiles United began as a partnership with Children's Dental Services. We helped them get their mobile dental program established in their schools. So like Shelly mentioned, they are bringing a mobile dental unit directly into the schools. We're eliminating travel barriers, insurance barriers. That program's expanded now to serve patients of all ages, which usually is something that I really, really, really try to stress in meetings. But luckily here in Ely, we have the Ely Community Health Center that has a dental program, and thank goodness for them. I haven't said it yet. Hopefully I might end up saying it 3 more times before I'm done up here in the next 5 minutes. But we are so grateful for the work being done in Ely, and we really wish that we could take our agency partners in Ely and our community leaders in Ely and bring them to all the different communities we serve and say, look at how things can be done, because the community here is really working together to make sure that needs are met. And new for our dental work, last year we established a dental task force, a regional dental task force. This is one of those issues we've been hearing more and more about the need for dental. And so we're again quantifying what that need looks like and trying to identify gaps we can fill. So new, we have established a dental crisis fund. We can provide up to $1,000 for needed dental care not covered by insurance, whether you are insured or not. And that priority will be given to veterans, but that is open to anyone. So same thing, if somebody here knows of someone who could benefit from that, we have a application here. United for Veterans began after a workplace campaign meeting. Erin talked quite a bit about that, but other components of that program, we have a military connections guide. But donors helped us purchase a home in Hibbing, serves as the only transitional home for veterans in this part of the state, now operated by MACB with support from our local donors. Crisis funding again for veterans, that's specific to veterans. The Connections event and our retreat, and registration is open for this year's retreat, January 30th to February 1st at Sugar Lake Lodge. If anybody would like information on that, I have that with me as well. And a new oral history project. This is something that came out of, we brought the traveling Vietnam Memorial Wall to Chisholm in 2022. And we heard so resoundingly from veterans and their loved ones that it was the first time many of them had talked about their experience with their loved ones and what that meant for the veterans, what that meant for their loved ones. And we really started hearing from those veterans, they wanted to encourage other veterans to do the same thing. And so again, so much of this work is inspired by what's important to our community members. So we are now offering no cost, professionally done oral histories that are transcribed, archived in the manner of your choosing, can be kept private if you would like for your family. And just really, really encourage, if anyone here is a veteran, thank you for your service first and foremost, but please consider any of these resources and the oral history project. We keep hearing what I did wasn't that important. I only did this, but your story is important and you are part of our region, our state, our nation's history. So please consider it. I also have information on that if you would like it more. I'm gonna try to go faster. I'm sorry. Community resiliency, the video you saw, Comforts of Home. In addition to our programs, we support 10 partner agencies working to build community resiliency. Our crisis response work has really grown. We started doing it with when the mining industry was down and people were laid off. That is a crisis in our region. So though, and again, like Erin pointed out, some of our biggest donor base, most of our campaigns held in mines, so they've supported us for so long, right? We wanted to support them as well. So we had crisis funding for mining downturns, which then when COVID hit our region, we are well-versed, well-practiced at establishing and just administering crisis funds. So we were able to raise and distribute COVID crisis funding when people were out of work. And then that evolved again with Rainy River flooding, St. Louis County flooding, and now this year with wildfires. So we're looking at crisis funding, supporting volunteers, and again, addressing immediate needs while working on long-term support as well.
We could do a whole presentation.
I know. I know, I would dive more into that, but I'm watching the clock. In the video, financial security, this is our newest focus area. In the video, you saw Day of Action, one of our newest initiatives. This summer, we will be in Chisholm. So if anyone feels like taking a drive for a volunteer day, it is wildly impactful. We are helping people who want to stay in their homes, but maybe don't have the skill set or ability anymore to do that external upkeep of their homes. We work on residential homes as well as community spaces, some small businesses, and by the end of the day, you just see everybody in the community walking a little taller. It is a great day. Check it out. Not mentioned in the video is Alice, and this is our newest our other newest initiative. Last year, we partnered with United Ways across the state to bring this data to Minnesota. ALICE stands for Asset Limited Income Constrained Employed. This is a term, a lengthy term to describe something that organizations like ours have known for a long time, and our partners have known for a long time existed, but didn't have the word or the data to prove. It means people who are working, often multiple jobs, and still can't afford to make ends meet. These are people who earn above the federal poverty guideline. And this data, all we had to go off previously was the federal poverty guidelines. We know that that is not capturing the whole picture. ALICE data includes more variables. The poverty guideline formula has not been updated since it was created in 1960s. And we can dial down by community. So you can see last year in Minnesota, 10% of Minnesotans were living in poverty. In St. Louis County, 16% living in poverty. In Minnesota last year, 26% were ALICE. So that's again above federal poverty, but still not making enough to make ends meet. In St. Louis County, also 26%. So that's almost a third of people in our service area, in our community, that have been struggling and often unable to access different resources. So unfortunately, well, fortunately, we have a number of programs that I just went into detail on that can support ALICE. Our hope is to create some programming to stabilize and support ALICE even more. Our hope was that by this time this year, we'd be telling you what that program is, but we are learning that this is a problem that does not have a quick fix. And so what we are working to do is educate our leaders on ALICE. We've looked at our own programs, making sure that ALICE qualifies for our programs, encouraging our partners and other service providers to do the same. And our leaders are asking for stories from ALICE. The data is great, but they say, we want to hear from people in our community about what this means. So if this resonates with you, or you know of somebody who may be willing to share a story about what this means anonymously, there are people, leaders who are ready to listen and ready to act. And ALICE is a great example of where we hope to go as an organization in the future. Like I said, we don't want to just meet immediate needs. It is important to do so, and we will always want to do so, but we really want to dig down to those root issues. We don't want to provide band-aids. We want to find solutions. That's going to take some significant community investment of time, talent, and treasure, but we have seen time and time again that our region can come together and really make some great, important, significant changes. That was a lot. I hope it wasn't too fast for us to flow. I'm gonna leave Erin with 3 minutes.
Well, I will quickly wrap up and just, I'm sure one of the things you're wondering is, how do I get involved? So really quickly, we have multiple events that we host throughout the year, and those are listed in your brochure. I won't go into detail about those. You can also follow our website or our social media channels. We've got a women's event coming up here in January. Our 60th anniversary gala will be happening in March, and we're really hoping to make that a successful event. So it's another way to participate. Workplace giving campaigns. If you are a part of a business in Ely, or you know somebody that has a business that would be interested in inviting United Way in to talk to their employees and give them an opportunity to contribute, is another way to get involved. And then lastly, I would say one of the greatest gifts that you can give is time. And volunteering is just a great way to give back. I can tell you, Katie had mentioned it before, you are movers and shakers in Ely. You know how to get things done. So we would love to have you participate. And we could also do a whole nother presentation on our volunteer center, which we didn't get to touch much on today. And I know I had mentioned that to Lindsay. It was something we wanted to discuss, but we have a regional volunteer center. So anybody here that has a volunteer need, it's free of charge. You can go on, make a profile, and we promote all of the volunteer opportunities across our entire service area. The goal of that volunteer center was to be a regional hub for anybody on the Iron Range, newcomers, people who have been here for years, maybe people who are retired looking for some way to give back. their time to be able to go to a one-stop shop and see everything that's available across the Iron Range in Northeastern Minnesota. So we are continuing to grow that. We have a new staff member who's our volunteer and engagement coordinator who has been going out and just educating people on this opportunity. So I just wanted to plug that before we were done, because it's also another great way to be involved in United Way. And we just want to thank you for your time. We didn't leave much opportunity for questions and answers. I think we have like maybe a minute left. But we'll be hanging out for a little bit afterwards. And as Katie said, we have lots of materials here with us today. So if there's anything that we talked about and you want to grab some informational flyers about it, we're happy to do that. And we're always happy to connect with you outside of this as well. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here and just touch on some of the work that we're doing in the region.
Does anyone have a question? Yes, Julie. I'd just like to say that in the 14 years that I worked with ECR, a partner with the United Way, I just really, really appreciated, like you said, you were looking upstream, always looking upstream to find out, you know, how to think about helping our communities. This is one grant that we didn't always have to go to them to ask for. Sometimes they call us and see if we would like to participate in one of their activities or if we needed anything. Just really, really appreciate your involvement in the communities. And even though Ely has been one of the kind of lower contributing communities, that never mattered. I mean, it was always easy to talk about what we needed and if you had any way to help. And Happy Days, that wonderful facility that we have now would not be what it is without the help that you gave for that gigantic grant. So really just want to call attention to how you have helped you.
Thanks, Julie.
I certainly could echo Julie too. United Way does amazing work in our community. We're so blessed to have them. It's been multiple years that they keep supporting us. And they really do need people to be donating to them from our community. It's, as you see there, it's like a $63,000 difference or something in how much money they give to our community that they don't get from our community. So I super encourage people to be supporting United Way, not by in finances, by volunteering, because it truly is changing lives and it's changing Ely all the time. We're very fortunate for this. So, agency that's benefited hugely from that. So thank you very much. Lisa.
All right, kudos to y'all. Thank you for being here. They'll hang around for a couple minutes, so anyone who wants to chat or be introduced, you're welcome to stay, and we'll see you next week. We'll have the Green Stuff City program representatives here.